What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda, the start of another week here on Anfield Agenda, and I'm delighted to be here with you all. Thank you for joining me, and apologies for not being on mute. I know you're wanting me to be on mute. I know people love telling me I'm on mute, but I'm going to make a point to not be on mute. I'm going to do my very best to make sure that when I start speaking, you hear my dulcet tones. And I'm also going to start banning people that put the word mute in the chat. So to those of you who've put it in, enjoy. The joke was funny for like a second. Now it's just silliness, but we're here. We're ready to go, and I hope that you're all in good form this evening. And everyone who said mute, it's about to be banned, so bear with me on that. Bye-bye you. Bye-bye you. There we go. I think I've covered that now. Hopefully people will start to learn their lessons. Are Chelsea losing? I don't know. I've seen the people in the chat. Oh, it is. It's gone 1-0 Palace. There we go. Maybe the little fix that Pochettino had was only short term, but there we go. Bain wants to be banned as well. No problem, mate. My pleasure. Mods, if you could just save me the time and just ban them for me, that would be great. Save me having to not interact with people that were just trying to be assholes. I like to interact with the people who are here to have a bit of fun. And there is lots to go through tonight. We're going to be talking about a potential double raid from Liverpool on Leeds United. We're going to be talking about the latest and, of course, the search for a manager. We're going to be giving you guys an injury update as well and a few bits and pieces. But most importantly, we're here to have some fun, because it's a long while till we play again. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? The fact that there's European action this week, but of course, by factor of the fact that we've won our group, we don't have to bother with this knockout stage of the Europa League. But it still feels weird. I don't know if it's just me, but it does feel really weird that there's European action and we're not in it. It feels like we've been knocked out or something. I haven't got the memo. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Craig, just a question: how many tattoos do you have? Honestly, don't know, Sammy. A lot. But I don't know the amount, because, how do you, I guess, count a sleeve? I don't know. I've only got them on my arms and legs. I've got them nowhere else. No torso, no shoulder, none of that stuff. So, I don't know the answer, bud. Sorry. What's the news on the Leeds pair? So, look, let's start off straight on that tonight. So, we all know that Liverpool have had an interest in Leeds United's Archie Gray, as do Manchester City and a couple of other clubs. But apparently our interest isn't just with Archie. We also have interest in his younger brother, who at this moment in time plays as a striker for Leeds under-18s. So there's talk of a potential double raid for the Gray family and the two brothers. Archie is obviously the one that's been mentioned most in the media. He's the real star, a jewel in Leeds' crown at the minute, and there's lots of talk that Liverpool and many other Premier League clubs will be coming in with some serious money. Up to about £50 million is believed to be the number that would be required to get him. So him and his younger brother, whose name I believe is Harry, let me just read this out to you. So HITC brought news of Liverpool hoping to double up on a raid for Leeds United youngsters. The Reds reportedly have their sights set on Archie's younger brother Harry, as well as, of course, Archie. 15-year-old plays as a striker, and despite his tender age, has already represented Leeds at under-18 level. The Gray family have a long and storied connection with Leeds United. Archie and Harry's father, Andy, played for the club in two separate spells during his playing career, and his grandfather, Frank Gray, also played for Leeds in the 70s and 80s. So there we go. Look, this is a player that will make it. I'd put him in the Bellingham category. Maybe not get to that exact level, but there is very, 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 very high hopes for Archie in particular. And I would love Liverpool to be in for him. I don't know if he's worth £50 million at this moment in time. I truly don't. But he does seem like a real top target for many clubs in Europe. So we should be in that conversation trying to bring him to Liverpool. But will we pony up that much money for somebody that young? I guess time will tell. Hey Craig, how are you? Thanks so much. Nothing to thank me for, George, but thank you for being here with us, bro. Appreciate you. Craig, say a big hello to Georgie. No, that's gone. I was about to, and then it got removed. So there we go, Ian. Georgie, hi. How are we? I missed my I did miss your super chat, George. You just didn't give me longer than 2 fucking minutes to read your super chat. Give me a break. Jeez, you guys are holding me to some crazy standards. I've missed your super chat, mate. There's about 14 comments between your super chat and your comment saying I missed it. I mean, give me a break. You know, I can only read things in order. And I also can't just interrupt the flow of talking about something to go back and read the super chat. You know, there's no divine right to have it read out the second you post it, mate. I try my best. I won't always get there in time, but I will get back to it. So just be a bit more understanding if you could be so kind, sir. I think Archie Gray's a great prospect, better than Lewis Miley, said Lee Claxton. Miley's a good player. But Archie Gray, look, I don't know much about underage football, but I've been hearing this name for a couple of years now. But the number seems to be getting bigger as each passing week and month goes by. I mean, I remember when we spoke in the summer, there was talk of a potential 40 million offer coming in for Archie Gray. That didn't materialise. If I'm not mistaken, I think he signed a deal or a first professional contract or whatever with the Leeds. But either way, this kid is going to be hot property in the coming years. Thoughts on Ireland versus England in the Nations League? Excited and a bit petrified as well, to be honest with you, Owen. You know, it's always great when we get to play England, but you want to be competitive in these games. So I hope whoever the Irish manager is at that point is settled in and we get some decent games with no trouble, of course, as well, which would be the preference. But yeah, interesting. Certainly makes for a fun Nations League campaign, albeit I'm not holding out much hope we do well in it, but sure, let's wait and see. You're doing well, Craig. It's not easy being in the cold face. It's tough, you know, but sometimes people just try to hold me to unbelievable standards, you know. I make mistakes, but I try to just keep everything in a flow. So I try to get a rhythm in the show so we can have a bit of fun, mix in with some comments, and of course get the news in as well. But I won't always please people, but I'll always try. Can I mention me? There you go. I've just mentioned you, Shorts Gamer. Of course, sir. I would prefer if you threw something in for me to talk about, bud. But, you know, always happy to say hello to people who are watching, mate. Thank you. Is Alonso coming? I don't know what he's doing at this moment in time, mate. I'd imagine he's probably having his tea or something. Sorry, I couldn't help it. The dad jokes just to start making sense in my head. Is he coming? I believe yes. But you know, Leverkusen on their side seem to be quite confident they're going to be able to keep hold of him. I don't think so. I think he will be a Liverpool manager in the summer. That's my understanding of where we're at. But I'm not trying to say anything's agreed. I don't know. Just would feel a very... it would feel like a poor decision if he didn't want the job. And it would certainly feel like a poor decision from our side if we weren't interested in giving him the job. I think he's the best candidate, and doesn't matter what former players you look at or journalists, at this point everybody seems to be on the same page that in an ideal scenario Xabi Alonso will be the next Liverpool manager. Who's your player of the season for us so far? I think Alisson, probably, Jimmy, but there are some very good candidates in there. Van Dijk's had a good season. Diogo Jota's been in really good form. Trent's had a very good start to the campaign. I'll be petered away a little bit since the injury, of course, but I would go with the consistency of Alisson. Yeah, and Mo, of course, deserves a mention, but for me, Alisson. When is Dominic Sexy Guy back? I don't know, Padraig. I don't know, bud. There's not been a lot of information given out other than he's not available at the minute, and it's a hamstring issue, I believe. So let's wait and see. I mean, I'm kind of excited and scared to figure out what's going on with Trent as well, and his knee. Will we have Conor Bradley back this week? Will he be available for the game against Brentford? And if so, what decision will Jurgen make with regards to his team selection? Benjamin, how are we? My New Zealand residing friend, lovely to see you in. Craig, I saw your video around being over Klopp leaving. I think I agree with you now. I don't feel as down. Do you think if Xabi comes in, it's the right time? Also thoughts on Højlund. So, first part of it, about me being over Klopp leaving. I mean, I'm as over it, I think, as I can be, Benjamin. You know, it's clearly a disappointment and a situation that I wish we didn't have to face up to till 2026, but I think I'm over the shock is probably what I'm trying to say. And now I'm sort of maybe like yourself, and certainly I know like Connor, looking forward to possibilities of what the future could be rather than trying to be pessimistic about it. But, the preference would always still be for Jurgen to stay at the club as long as possible. But that being said, I'm excited by the idea of Alonso, so I hope it happens. And you also asked me about Hoyland. Look, I've said this since Manchester United signed him. He strikes me as the type of player who fans will like, because I think he'll fight for the shirt, and he's a Manchester United fan by the sounds of it from childhood. So, he was still young when he made the move. What is he now? Just turned 21 years of age. For a striker, that's baby years. So yeah, I think if United fans are patient with him, which, I think they will be, I think there's a player there, and I think over the course of time, the money they paid for him will probably look like decent enough value. If we get Archie, then it could interrupt by Bajcetic. Well, it could do, but to be fair, mate, I think Bajcetic's own injuries are what's stalling him at the minute, unfortunately. We're all very much looking forward to when he's back playing, but I would always want us to be linked with the best young talent in England or Europe. So, seeing our names mentioned by Archie and his brother, that's what we should be linked to be fair. But do we have a spot, or do we have space in midfield? That's a whole another question, I guess. If we get Archie, we've done that one. Would you rather have Rodri or Declan Rice right now? Declan Rice. Yeah, I think for the way we play, Declan Rice would be a better fit in our system. But, like I say about a lot of people, if you have either of them, you're not going to be too displeased, are you? Got to get Klopp's successor right. Brilliant platform of players, said Ian. I think we will get it right, as long as the answer is Alonso. It is weird at this point because I don't really have a second choice. I don't know about you guys. I can only speak for myself, but I don't have anybody else I want taking the role after Klopp. If it's not Alonso, it's going to feel like a bit of a come down. Did you see that Bradley won goal of the month? I did indeed, Hassan. Yes, we congratulated him earlier on today. So for those of you who aren't aware, Conor Bradley's goal against Chelsea is Liverpool's goal of the month. So congratulations to Conor Bradley on that. Very deserved, very good goal. And hopefully it's a catalyst to spur him on to more scoring attributes and certainly more assists, which I'm sure will be coming down the line. But yeah, very excited for the breakthrough and the emergence of Conor Bradley this season. Just obviously incredibly sad what happened with his father. Rodri's miles ahead. Nobody said he was or wasn't, Jamie. There wasn't the question of which one's a better player. The question was which one would you rather have? And I answered that I would rather have Declan Rice because I think he'd be a better fit in our midfield. It was nothing to do with who's the better player. That wasn't the question. Has Alonso brought any players from Sociedad to Leverkusen? Don't know is the answer. Probably not, because he was Sociedad's B team coach, but I'm not aware of any off the top of my head. Leon said, Craig, do you reckon Xabi will come in as player manager? No. He hung up his boots already, but a few seasons ago. He's not coming in as any player manager. He'll be coming in as coach. And could he convert Trent into a midfielder? Well, I hope at that point he's already converted into a midfielder. It's like right now we're waiting to figure out how that move into midfield is made fully for Trent, because the hybrid role, well, I'm not even concentrating on the hybrid role anymore. I just want Conor Bradley at right back at this moment in time. I just feel like we're better balanced with him there. So I guess somebody's going to have to convert Trent into midfield because his days at right back seem to be numbered. Any news on new contracts? A little bit, yes. There was some talk earlier on. Where was my notes? 1 second. Right. So Football Insider have said that Liverpool are planning to undergo fresh contract talks with Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Sources reportedly claimed to the outlet that the trio are open to extending their deals at the Reds, which currently are set to expire in under 18 months, and it's been said that talks are expected once a new manager and sporting director have been appointed. But therein lies the problem, right? We don't know any time frame on those, and I was saying this earlier on, if we have to wait till the end of the season to announce a manager, I think we're leaving ourselves with a lot of work to do, because we'd obviously have to get the new manager up to speed. We'd have to get the scouting of players up to speed. And then you're left with 3 contracts to try and negotiate, 3 big contracts as well with 3 star players. And I feel like it will be leaving us a lot of work to do in a very short period of time, as well as, of course, with a pre-season tour and all the other stuff that goes along with preparing for a new campaign. So for me, and again, just giving you my viewpoint, I'd like to see a new manager announced as soon as possible, and then, of course, followed up or alongside the new sporting director. I do, of course, appreciate that it's a distraction for Alonso or other clubs as well, but I think maybe naively that the most common sense way to sort this out would be to make the appointment, make the announcements, and then just let everyone get back to work. Let Jurgen finish the season, let Alonso finish the season, and then we can start planning accordingly. And certainly the club could then sit down with Verge, with Mo, and with Trent and say, look, you know who the new manager is going to be. This is our plans moving forward. We want you to be a part of the team, obviously, and we'd like you to sign new deals. But it would be harder, I'm sure, to get anybody, not just these 3 gentlemen, but anybody to commit to a new deal when you don't know who the manager is and you don't know what the club's prospects are, especially when you're getting to the point with Mohamed Salah and Verge that this is probably, their last big contract to their careers at the top level anyway. So they're going to want some reassurances. Maybe you have a bit more wiggle room with Trent because he's a little bit more time on his hands, obviously, and he's a local boy as well. So you would imagine that will be, I don't want to say an easy conversation, but a fairly straightforward negotiation. Rachel, thank you for gifting a membership, Rachel. That's very kind of you. Right, so I see a couple of people mentioning Mbappe in the chat. So I'm going to bring up what you're probably discussing, which is that Kylian Mbappe was leaning towards joining Real Madrid, but is now having doubts about the Spanish club's offer after influential members of his entourage have been left unconvinced. I don't know what to say to that. Is it just to do with the Reddies, or is there something else about it that they're not happy with? This whole thing feels weird to me, the whole Mbappe situation, because I don't even think Real Madrid particularly need him that much. If I'm Real Madrid and I'm looking at how we can build that team for the future, I would far more likely want to spend the money on trying to bring in Haaland to Manchester City from Manchester City over Mbappe, because you've got wide players, you've got wide attackers, you've got young players there, you've got Bellingham, you've got Rodrigo, you've got Camavinga, you've got Tchouaméni, you've got probably Alphonso Davies coming in the summer, you've got Vinny Jr. So you need a striker. And I never understood the fascination with them wanting to bring in Mbappe. And yes, Endrick will be coming in as well. But for me, I don't think Real Madrid want to commit as much as would be needed to get Mbappe over the line. We're hearing things ranging from he had 2 weeks to make up his mind in January, then it was the middle of January, then it was February, and then it was he's going to be on less money than Bellingham, and then it was, well, he's going to be the highest paid player. And I don't know what the situation is, but it just feels like, again, everyone's overthinking this, and let's wait and see how it figures out. I'm certainly not trying to make any argument around him coming to Liverpool anymore. I think that ship has absolutely sailed, but maybe PSG can convince him to stay there. I don't know. There's too much of a circus surrounding Mbappe, a bit like Beckham in the day, said Gerard Phelan. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice just to talk about the guy from a footballing playing perspective, wouldn't it? Like, just what he does on the pitch. But you are right, it is a bit of a circus, Gerard, and certainly I think maybe everybody's just had enough at this point. Everyone's just fed up with it. But I'm still pretty much convinced he ends up going to Real Madrid. But God almighty, they're making hard work of getting this one team race, because it's just Madrid at this point. Liverpool and Arsenal, according to all the reports, didn't want to break the wage structures. So that put that to bed pretty quickly, because I can't see Mbappe wanting to take 350 grand a week. So yeah, it'll be either PSG or Real Madrid, one of those two by the looks of it. Any updates on, I don't know who that is, Owen, sorry mate, that's gone over my head altogether, buddy. Craig, do you think Liverpool will be top of the league with Caicedo or Rice? Well, we are top of the league, so um, look, I said this in the summer. There were two players for me that I would have loved Liverpool to have signed: Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice. And Declan Rice went to Arsenal and is already justifying, in my opinion, his price tag. And obviously, Jude Bellingham went to Real Madrid and is, in my opinion, right now the best player in world football. So, um, I would say if you had Rice in your team, you'd probably be a little bit better off than you are. With Caicedo, I don't know, is the answer, which probably shouldn't be. The answer should definitely be yes, we would be better. But if you look at how Caicedo's been playing for Chelsea versus, let's say, how Endo is now playing for us, I mean, I think we're doing okay. I think Endo's doing really well. And that competition between himself, McAllister, and then when young Stefan Bajcetic becomes available, I think we're in a pretty healthy position there. So I'm actually okay with having lost out on Caicedo, as much as I would have loved the signing. And yeah, it would have been a big statement. But I think everything works out for a reason. And at the moment, yeah. That Rice goal better than Dom's. Oh, it was a great strike. The what was it? The sixth goal or the fifth goal in the game? The sixth goal in the game. Yeah, it was an incredible strike. It really was. Is Endo the top 5 best CDMs in the world right now? I don't know, George, but I tell you what, pound for pound value with the level that he's clearly able to play at. Because let's be frank, I was a little bit concerned that maybe he came back from the Asia Cup and lost a bit of the rhythm, but nope. Straight in again against Burnley, and especially second half, the man showed his value. So I think we got an incredible deal for, what was it, 13 million or 18 million, something like that. Incredible bit of business. Now look, it's a sort of short-term thinking, we've not got somebody there for the next 6 or 7 years, but he certainly looks like a bargain. And you got to tip your hat to Jurgen Klopp and the recruitment team, George Schmaka, for getting the deal done as well. It was a nice solution to a big problem. I just want to say that you had one of the hardest days. Excuse me. I just want to say I had one of the hardest days, and putting your stream on has helped. Good. I'm not glad you had a bad day, by the way. Sorry. I mean, I'm glad it's helped a little bit. I say this a lot, my friend, but I'm the same. There are days where I'm in a pisser and I come on and someone says something silly, makes me smile, and everything just melts away. So I look forward to these. And even if there's no news to discuss, I'm still going to be coming on because it's an important part of my daily routine, and I know it's an important part of other people. So yes, I'm very humbled by your kindness, mate. Thank you, and appreciate you being with us. Craig, Liverpool have always have the last laugh over Chelsea. Yes, I think so. The only one I feel we got the worst end of was when we took Joe Cole and Yossi Benayoun went to Chelsea. I felt like they got the better end of that one, but I certainly feel like we sold Fernando Torres at the right time to them. Endo isn't even top 10 on defensive midfielders in the world, said Torsten. I mean, I don't really give a shit whether he's 1, 10, 15. To me, buddy, he's just important to us. And let everybody else argue over the rankings, Torsten. I just think we've got ourselves a good player who suits our team for a really good transfer fee, and we're all the better for it. That's the way I'm trying to look at it. It's up. The rest is just people just debating who they like in a role. I'm grateful that we have him. That's the way I'd put it. Do you think we can win the Premier League? Of course, Zachariah. 100%. Why wouldn't I? I don't believe that some people don't believe we can win the Premier League. That's crazy to me. People, whenever we go a goal down, just rolling over and saying, give the title to Man City. I remember that all the way back from the time we played Everton and Origi scored that goal. I remember vividly that watch along, it still being 0-0, and people saying just give the title to City. And it bugged the hell out of me, and it still bugs the hell out of me to this day. I don't understand people rolling over and giving up. It shouldn't be in our DNA, especially with the group we have. We should know better than that at this point, that these lads will not give up or will not roll over. and let everybody else write us off. We should be the ones believing in ourselves. And, you know, why not dream? You're a football fan. It's what we're supposed to do. Even when it's unrealistic or other people don't believe us, we're supposed to believe us. Do you think anybody from the Irish international team could play for Liverpool? Yes, Evan Ferguson could. We already have somebody, you know, Mr. Creevy Kelleher playing with us. But look, of the current crop of Irish youth players, you know, you'd have to say Evan Ferguson, certainly the brightest. Thoughts on Kelleher versus Burnley? Brilliant, really good performance. Nothing he could have done about the header. That was down to slack marking. I think when we needed Creevy to step up and make a couple of big saves one-on-one in the game, he did it. Yeah, so I'm glad that he got some of the credit he deserved. You're always stronger with Alisson in the team. Of course you are. You know, in our opinion, he's the best goalkeeper in the world. So not having him around, you know, is never a good thing. But I think Creevy can take a lot of confidence from that performance. And I think he needed it. I think that's fair to say as well. The last few games he's let some in that you would have expected him to do better with. But it was nice to get that reminder that, you know, he is number 2 at Liverpool Football Club for a reason, because he's a fine young goalkeeper. Sorry, folks. Bear with me 1 second. Craig, do you think Brentford away will be a tight game for us? Because I thought Bournemouth away would be tough, but we blew them out of the water. Yes, I do. For a couple of reasons. One, I don't care who we play at half 12. I'm always nervous about a half 12 game. 2, Brentford never make it easy. But look, if we want to really win the league, then we should be going to Brentford and leave them with 3 points. You know, if we don't deserve to be talked about as league title challengers. So we've no excuses for this one. That's the way I look at it. We have a full week to prepare. We should be getting hopefully Mo back, all going well. And yeah, you know, we've no reason not to think we can go there and get the victory. But we know that we're going to have to work for it, because Thomas Frank always has his team up for the battle, and you don't want to give them any encouragement. Would the Zerbi ball work out for Liverpool? Yes, I could imagine. My only concern about the Zerbi is his pulling power, if you want to call it that. But yes, I do think, like, look at what he's doing at Brighton. And I know it's been up and down, by the way, but if you look at when it goes well at Brighton, it looks really good. The style of football looks very attractive, and they almost got through opposition teams with ease and play around presses. So if you look at that with better players, which, let's be frank, we have at Liverpool than Brighton, then I think, yes, it could work, absolutely. I think we'd have a few nervy moments playing out from the back, and there'll probably be some mistakes along the way, but it's a high risk, high reward system that De Zerbi looks to play. Does Doak deserve a mention to be a potential Salah replacement? Not yet. He needs to continue to develop. And obviously he's had some unlucky times with injuries over the last year, but, you know, Cade Gordon and him, between them, you would hope one of them comes good. Is Archie Gray linked? Yes, him and his brother, Pontus. Let me read you out the piece, mate, and we will take it from there. So this piece is in the Echo, and it's credited to HITC Sport as well. The piece says, Liverpool are reportedly interested in Leeds United star Archie Gray. The 17-year-old is said to have caught the attention of the Reds and Manchester City, according to HITC. Newcastle United are also said to have wanted to lure Gray away from Ellen Road in January, but there is interest from the 3 Premier League clubs. Now, I'll follow that up with a little bit more on this. They also say that his 15-year-old brother is of interest to Liverpool. He currently plays as a striker for their under-18s. Then they go on to speak about the fact that the Gray family have long connections with Leeds United. Their grandfather Frank played there, and obviously Andy, the father of the two younger boys, also played for Leeds. So there is a tradition for the Gray family at Leeds United. But I just hope that rules United out straight away, because we know the relationship between Manchester United fans and Leeds fans is pretty hot, to say the least. And I also hope Manchester City don't become a problem, because I want Manchester City to be punished. So yeah, but the amount is the potential problem here. Like, numbers from 40 to 50 million pound are being mentioned, and that is a lot of money for a kid playing in the Championship. But Jude Bellingham was playing in the Championship before he went to Dortmund, and worked out pretty well there. So yeah, I mean, look, he's no secret, this kid. All top clubs in Europe know about Archie Gray. I was surprised that Brighton could sign Valentin Barco, although City wanted to sign him. I think he probably looked at it and thought better pathway through at Brighton, which would be to his credit. I wanted us to be keeping an eye on Barco as well. I think he's a very easy player to see in our system, but he is still a little bit raw and probably needs a season or two with a club like Brighton. In the previous stream, you said you couldn't understand why nobody wants us to win, Craig. I'm told by friends that are United fans that it's because when it counts, or because it counts when we win. Yeah, that's a fair point, Thorsten. I just don't understand. I can understand people not wanting us to win, Thorsten. I can get that, my friend. But what I can't get is people not wanting us to win at the expense of Manchester City winning, and people preferring the idea of potential cheats winning over a club that, look, they may not like, but at least they're doing things above board. So, as an example, I don't want Arsenal to win the league, but I will absolutely take Arsenal winning the league every day of the week over Manchester City winning it, even though I'd have a lot more banter to listen to from my Arsenal supporting mates. I'd at least have respect for them for winning the league. You know my thoughts on Manchester City. How long do you think before Pep leaves City? I think he stays one more season. Just guess. Obviously, I'm not pretending I know that and you don't know, but I get the feeling one more season and maybe Pepuland goes bye-bye. But it could also come down to what happens with the hearing and the 115 charges, Does he dig his heels in if those are proven? I don't know. What else have we got? Do you think Mo would move to Saudi when he still has skill and ability to play at the top level and ambition to win trophies? I don't know the answer to that question, because I'm going to try to be as frank and as honest as possible. The only way I can maybe compare this is if I was to think of myself as a very religious person from, let's say, a Catholic background, and I had the ability to go and become the poster boy for Catholics around the world in a specific league and grow the game and grow my brand. I don't know, because I'm not a religious person. So I don't know how strong the pull of potentially becoming the biggest Muslim athlete in the world, or even bigger than he is now. I don't know how much of an attraction that is, because I'm not a religious person. From a footballing perspective, 100% he can still play at a higher level than the Saudi Pro League. Absolutely. He still has 2-3 years left in Europe at the top level. The problem I have is I can't see Liverpool giving him another pay rise, because I also don't think he deserves one. I think if he wants to extend on the deal he's on now for another year or two, brilliant. But after that, I guess it will come down to what options he has, who comes in for him. It won't be Real Madrid. It won't be Barcelona. Are PSG an attractive proposition to him if they came in? I don't know. I doubt it. I can't really see the French league being one that excites him. So outside of that, what are his options? And that's another fair question, Does he want to go and join another club in Europe? run the risk that it'll work out and he'll be able to win what he's able to win? Or does he look at the situation and go, I'm settled here. I'm the highest paid player at the club. Yes, there's a change of manager coming, but I'm sure the new manager will want to work with me because he's a superstar. So yeah, sometimes it comes down to options, and I don't know what his options are. So we're going to have to wait and see. Also, I don't know what way FSG are looking at the negotiation. Would I start Mo if he was available? Of course. Yeah. Mo's part of our best front three, 100%. If Mo's available for the trip to Brentford, then I'd be starting Mo on the right-hand side of our attack without a shadow of a doubt. Just read on Wikipedia that Alonso used to stay with a family here in Ireland. Yeah, he was in County Meath. I can't remember, was it Dunboyne or somewhere? It was County Meath anyway. He was an exchange student, I think. He even played a bit of Gaelic football when he was over here. So yeah, I love that little story as well. So it's a nice little connection. Makes me want Alonso even more. Craig, I've just had a news thing say somebody at Madrid has complicated the Mbappe move and has given us, Liverpool and Arsenal a chance. We just touched on the same story. This one says Kylian Mbappe was leaning toward joining Real Madrid, but is now having doubts about the Spanish club's offer after influential members of his entourage have been left unconvinced. I mean, that's the only information I have to hand. I don't know I don't know how much longer, let's say, Florentino Perez will look at this and go, I'm just getting sick of it at this point, because he's already made Madrid look like fools once by staying at PSG. Are they going to open themselves up to the possibility of making them look like mugs for a second time? I think at some point somebody's going to have to draw a line under it. But I would say the same about Kylian Mbappe that I said about Mo. Where is he going to go? Because yes, he has suitors, but he also wants a lot of money. A lot of money. And there's only a handful of clubs in world football that can afford to pay that. He's not going to want to go to Saudi and play in the Saudi Pro League already. He's way too young for that. Italy can't afford him. And again, I don't think the standard of Serie A at the minute would be appealing to him. Is he going to come to the Premier League? Well, if so, Liverpool and Arsenal aren't willing to break their wage structures by the looks of it. Would he want to go to the likes of United? No idea. So yeah, it's again how there's a very small, limited amount of clubs that can afford players like Kylian Mbappe. And I have to say, from a PR perspective, I don't think he's coming across great in any of these scenarios, because money seems to be the biggest factor in all of them. And let's be honest, he could play for $5,000 a week at this point and he'd still have amassed enough money for the rest of his life, because he's already extremely wealthy. So at some point you've got to just put it down to your career and go, where can I achieve what I want to achieve? Where can I win a Ballon d'Or? I want to win Champions Leagues. And he ain't going to do that at PSG. So that's where you look at your Real Madrids, your Liverpools, your Manchester Uniteds or wherever. I think the whole thing around him, he just, maybe doesn't give a shit, I don't know, but it certainly doesn't come across as a sporting integrity being the factor that's most important to him for a move. Certainly seems like it's pound notes. Can you see Klopp going to Barca as he won't cost anything in the summer? Why do you think he won't cost anything in the summer? This confuses the shit out of me. On what planet do you think Liverpool are just going to let Jurgen Klopp leave to walk into Barcelona? Not going to happen. He'd be breaking a contract. The club are allowing Klopp to walk away to take a year's sabbatical and then, of course, do whatever he needs to do after that. But that goodwill would very quickly be out the window if it became clear that Jurgen was going to take the Barca job. Then why would John W. Henry and FSG just agree to rip up his contract? They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it with a player, nor with anybody else. So I take these Barcelona links with a huge pinch of salt, because I refuse to believe that Jurgen's that duplicitous. And I think when he says he wants to take a break, that's the God's honest truth. But Same way we have to pay compensation for Alonso or Amorim or anybody else. You know, somebody would have to do that for Jurgen because he's under contract at Liverpool, and it's up to Liverpool if they want to release him from that deal. But they wouldn't do it so we could walk into Barcelona. That would just make no sense. Would he be throwing his arms up at Liverpool if he wasn't passed to? Who? Mbappe? I don't know, but nobody's bigger than the football club to me. And if anybody's having a strop, then they can sit on the bench for a while until they get their attitude right. But that's where player power becomes a problem in football. I hate it. I think the manager's word should be gospel, and that's it. You know, I think if I was a chairman, I'd always be backing a manager over any player. Who would you drop if Mo started? Diaz. I'd probably go Mo right, Jota centre, and Darwin left, or maybe I'd drop Jota, and put Darwin centre and Diaz left. But I feel like I'll have to have Mo and Diaz, or Mo and Darwin in the front three somewhere. Didn't Dortmund want compensation from Liverpool when soon after he started? I've no idea, is the honest answer, mate. Yeah, I don't want to say yes or no because I'd be lying to you. Apparently our next manager is getting a hefty transfer kitty. Good. They should. Because let's be honest, we're quite clever about how we spend money. And we should have the ability to give the new manager good funds. But I guess the most important thing will be to find out who this new manager is, assess the lay of the land, and see what he thinks the squad's lacking. Random question, would Mo be good for a striker? I think he would, George. I've said this for ages. I'd love to see Mo given a run through the middle. At the moment, one of the biggest criticisms I have of the way we play is that we're giving Mo the ball too far away from goal and expecting him to have to do a little bit too much to play his way in towards goal. So if we could find a system that allowed Mo to be central and maybe had Diaz on the right and Darwin on the left, I think that could be certainly positive, because Mo's our best finisher. Him and Jota, you could argue between them both. Do you reckon Zubamendi could come in with Alonso as manager? I like Zubamendi a lot. And by the way, actually, while we're talking about Sociedad players, Kubo signed a new deal till 2029 today, I think. Don't know what that means, if there's a buyout clause in there. I'm sure there is. But the announcement was made, the pictures were put up, and he has signed a new deal at Sociedad. If that puts the kibosh on any move in the summer, I'm not sure, but he has signed a new deal anyway. Eddie Gray, second only to George Best in his prime. Eddie Gray? You mean Archie Gray? Craig Alonso's style seems to be the polar opposite to Mbappe. Which would you rather have? Which would FSG prefer? Well, I'd back the manager. I think the next manager appointment's a more important role than bringing in a player. So for me, Alonso. Yeah. Look, I think once Jurgen said he was leaving, any idea or conversation around Mbappe in my head went, as small as chances that was, it went out the window. Right, a little bit of other transfer news. So Football Insider again said that Liverpool and Spurs are chasing Bournemouth defender Lloyd Kelly. You may remember we were linked with him before he actually joined Bournemouth. According to this report, the 25-year-old is eligible to enter discussions over a pre-contract agreement since January as he enters the final months of his contract. It's been said the defender is in no rush to decide his future for Liverpool. It is widely considered that the defensive department will be subject to reinforcement this summer. And this is, I actually don't know if this is a lazy link, a cheap link, or a credible link, but we have been linked with Lloyd Kelly for quite a while. I would rather Alonso as our next manager than any choice of player in the world. Um, I mean, I don't know if I'd agree with that. Like, if you said to me you could have Alonso or Bellingham, I'm saying hello, Jude. But if there's no other manager, I'd rather come in. But you think Alonso will come to Liverpool because we don't need to end up like Man U? Yes, I do think he'll come to Liverpool. I think Liverpool are certainly the closest club to his heart, in my humble opinion, outside of maybe Sociedad. But I think we're a far more attractive proposition to him than Bayern Munich, because I think he would find it harder to leave Leverkusen to go straight to Munich. It would probably be an easier transition if he came to the Premier League with Liverpool. So, look, I'm deluded though, because I'm a Liverpool fan, right? I'm going to assume that his heart's with Liverpool, but, this whole conversation is going to be non-stop until we make an appointment, until we get a sporting director in. To be fair, we've linked to every player going. So is everybody else. That's the world of football, mate, Players track, look at, monitor, and keep tabs on hundreds and thousands of players. So we're going to be linked to every man, woman, and child that plays football, probably. But I don't know. I guess the idea for us is to try and just figure out which ones are somewhat realistic and which ones are nonsense. A lot of them are nonsense, so I'll give you that. Who should be his assistant manager for Xabi Alonso? Whoever he thinks will do a good job. I don't mean that to be rude. Like, does he bring in another former player, like let's say a James Milner, if he hangs up his boots at the end of the season? Does he look to keep, let's say, maybe Thiago as part of the club? Would he? I don't know. It's a really difficult question, but let's start off by answering the first part of it, as in, is he going to be the next manager? Because that's uncertainty that I don't like, and I don't think any of us like. We football and uncertainty, they're not good bedfellows. Waiting for Madrid in 2026 is my Alonso fear. But, see, here's the thing, right? Anybody knows when they go into Real Madrid, they're getting 3 years max, most likely. And even if you win a league at Real Madrid, you could still get the boot if Florentino Perez decides that he wants to change his direction. So I would imagine the security that comes with becoming Liverpool manager would probably be more appealing. Real Madrid, I don't think, would be the right fit for Alonso at this early point in his career. I think he needs to come to a club like Liverpool and settle in, show that it was no fluke at Leverkusen, and then maybe in 10 years' time he could go to the likes of Real Madrid. But that job will always be one that comes up quite often because managers don't last that long there. So, again, I think Liverpool's a more attractive proposition at this stage of Alonso's career. I agree, Mbappe's not a Liverpool player. His attitude doesn't mesh with how the club operates, said Kyle. So what's one of my favourite episodes of 4-4 Tunes? God, which one would it be down as one of my favourites? The kind of Big Brother house ones from back in the day where you had Messi and Ronaldo and Zlatan and all of those boys. Or the correct answer should be the first one that I'm going to be in will be the best episode of 4-4 Tunes, clearly. So yeah, let's put a pin in that until Craig makes a little cameo appearance in 4-4 Tunes, and then we'll be all good. 4-4 Tunes retiring. Well, we're trying to figure out a way if we can help, and I'm sure many others are as well, because I'm a big fan of 4-4 Tunes. I don't want them. I think they're part of our fan culture at this point, and I don't want them going under. So I hope they can find a way to keep the doors open, because they bring a lot of positive energy and a lot of humour that's sometimes needed in the world of football. What's your honest opinion if City get relegated from the Premier League due to the 115 charges? That it's no more than they deserve. I've no sympathy for them. None. Zero. Because at every juncture they've made it difficult, and thrown up roadblocks and dragged it out and shown no willingness to accept they did that wrong. And I guess some people can say that's a good thing, but for me, I look at it this way: if they continue to, make it this difficult and say they've done nothing wrong and they're found guilty, well, they've already been charged, but if the appeal finds them guilty as well, then their lack of helping the authorities should be used by throwing the book at them. And this harshest, because think of it this way: if they're proven those 115 charges, there has to be a massive deterrent to stop anybody else thinking they can come in and do this again in the future. So I think the fullest extent of the rules should be thrown at them. And I've no sympathy for them because they've had no sympathy for everybody else that they've been fucking over for the last, 7, 8, 9, 10 years? I don't know. They've stuck two fingers up to the rest of the Premier League, and I think we should return the favour if they're found guilty. Does Dean know you? I'm massive, mate. Everyone knows me. No, yes, he does. He does. Ben had a conversation with Dean, the guy from 442s. But yes, look, I don't give a shit if I never make an appearance in 442s. I still want them to be around because I think they're brilliant, and my son loves them, and I think they're too good to go under, is the God's honest truth. And I can understand how it can be tricky. There's probably a lot of copyright stuff to tread water with there, but I'm a big fan, and I hope that they can find a way to keep 442s going. And if it needs all of us content creators to help a little bit, maybe highlight a little bit, then I'm certainly up for doing that. Because yeah, they're light-hearted and I enjoy it. Do you think Conor Bradley will be back at the weekend for the match against Brentford? I hope so, but I don't know is the honest answer, John. Thank you so much for your super chat, by the way, mate. It's very kind. Particularly on quiet nights like tonight, it makes the world a difference. We're going to have to wait until we hear from the club on that one. I like the club's stance on Conor Bradley's situation. These things affect us all in different ways. I know how much losing my father impacted my life, my ability to feel safe, and a lot of other things. So I can imagine, how difficult it is for the Bradley family. And I like that Liverpool have given him all the time he needs because, I know if I was in that position, I'd certainly want as much time as I could get. So, we'll be better when he's back, but it has to be when he's ready. Where did Sam go? I don't know who Sam is. So we're gonna have to rephrase that question, buddy. Sorry. Have I been to Emerald Park? Not since it's become Emerald Park. No. Only when it was Tato Park. I've been there, I think, 3 times. Always had a great time. Love the wooden roller coaster. Cuchulainn, I think is what it's called. But no, haven't had the pleasure yet. I've gone back since it's been called Emerald Park, but I do want to get there again because I think it's cool. I'm very proud of Ireland for having a theme park. Do you think the FA's new stance on the profit and sustainability is linked to the Man City case? I'd certainly imagine it would have to have something to do with it, or certainly be a reason as to why maybe the rules need to be tightened up a little bit. But look, I do hope that the idea that 70% of expenditure for football clubs is the way forward, rather than this 105 million losses over 3 years, because I don't think that's particularly fair to the bigger clubs. If everybody's allowed to lose 105 million over a 3-year period, it doesn't really take into account the clubs who are generating more money. So it's the 70% of your turnover being the amount you have to spend each season on wages or whatever makes sense, because it will encourage clubs to increase revenues. Now, the other argument against that is the Manchester City version of friendly sponsorship deals from their owners, other companies. And again, that's a question that is being debated at the minute. And Manchester City are apparently, I don't want to say threatening, but warning the Premier League of a potential breach of, I can't remember what competition law or something, UK competition law perhaps. But ultimately, I'm just fucking sick of Manchester City. All honesty, I'm sick to death of talking about them. I'm sick to death of having to look at Guardiola's smug head. I'm sick to death of all their fake fans. I'm just sick to death of all of it and all of this "we've done nothing wrong" nonsense. And I'm sick of us all being taken for idiots. It's absolutely pathetic at this point. And the fact that the Premier League are still dragging this shit out when we have to sit here season after season, knowing what they've been up to, watching them collect trophies, watching them be lauded as, you know, this fantastic underdog story by some sections of the media. It's quite simply pathetic. And it's not a great reflection of the Premier League or those in power. Do you think Chelsea will do us a favour against City? Pochettino does have a good record against Pep. I don't know. I don't mind who takes points off City as long as somebody does. I'm going to be an interested observer to the Arsenal-Manchester City game at the Etihad. That one's going to be interesting. That'll be a real test for Arsenal, you know, because the real great teams can go and do it away from home as well as at home. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting game as well. Do you think the next manager will have bigger transfer budget than Klopp? I don't ever know what Klopp's transfer budget was. So one of the things I'd love to find out when Klopp's time is up at Liverpool is, was it him or FSG that were not pushing for transfers? Was his "I only want number one on my list" the reason, or was John W. Henry not giving him the money to get number one on his list the reason? So, look, put it this way: if I'm Xabi Alonso or anybody else, and I'm talking with FSG about taking over, you're going to want some reassurances that there's going to be at least some funds available for you to address the deficiencies as you see them in the Liverpool team. Now, we don't have that many, to be fair. We're in a good position and we've a great squad. So, you know, there's also a good argument to say you should work with what's here. Any updates on our injured players? Nothing new. Nothing positive anyway, unfortunately. Obviously, we had Costas back in the squad and getting a couple of minutes at the weekend. All eyes are going to turn to Mohamed Salah this week and how he trains. Will he be available for selection? I hope so. How bad is the Trent situation? You know, do we have to be concerned about this knee? Will Conor Bradley be back this week? These are the things that I think we need answers to more so than the longer term stuff. I don't understand this obsession Klopp has about Thiago as well and how great he looks and being back in the squad and all this shit. Ultimately, he's gone at the end of the season, so I don't even think we should be considering or trying to rely on him for anything this season because he's unfortunately shown that we can't. Will there be a documentary on FSG and Klopp, and if so, are you excited? So 100% yes, there is a documentary being filmed. It's, I think, sold to Disney. If my memory's right, there was talk of Disney paying maybe 10 million. It's going to show some behind the scenes stuff, nothing in the dressing room, but some tunnel stuff, some players at home with their families, arriving to games, leaving games, all that kinds of stuff. And am I excited about it? Absolutely. You know, like everybody else, the more behind the scenes, the more kind of fly on the wall stuff we can see as fans, I think the closer we all feel to the club. So yeah, really excited by it. Can't wait to see how it turns out. And yeah, just looking forward to it. I don't really have any negatives to say about it in all honesty. I'm intrigued by it. Who do I want to sign? It's tough, Meech, without knowing the manager or the system to say who I want to sign. I feel comfortable saying I want us to sign Inacio or Hincapié, but I'd prefer Inacio. So yeah, a left-sided centre-back would be the only person that, regardless of what manager comes in or what system we play, I think we need. And then after that, it depends on what happens with Mo's situation, with Trent, with Verge, and if anybody wants to leave the club at the end of the season. What do you think Klopp's legacy will be? It's a good question, Paul. reviving a sleeping giant is probably the kindest way I can say it, because it was going to take somebody like Klopp. You know, that we've had some false dawns, we've had moments of success, but what we've always lacked is consistently challenging. Now, there are some people that will say Klopp winning one of everything is not an achievement. I would respectfully disagree, and I think Jurgen Klopp has restored belief and confidence and passion in Liverpool Football Club. And as cheesy as this sounds, and I know even when I'm saying it, but him saying turn doubters to believers is the best way to summarise it, because that's exactly what the man did. The man gave us, not that we never had a pride in supporting Liverpool, but he allowed us to dream again. And, you know, I've been watching Liverpool since I've been 8 years of age, and this period has been the greatest time I've had supporting this football club, and that comes down to Jurgen Klopp giving us that belief to dream and ability to dream. You know, it's been incredible. Every single week, no matter what happens, we're never out of it. And that's, I think that is the legacy for me, as well as breaking the curse of not winning the Premier League. So, yeah, they're the two things I would say. But yeah, just giving us that sense of excitement and the ability to dream about what's possible. You don't want a 20-year-old Thiago Silva. He didn't start showing his potential till he was around 24. I don't know what that's in relation to, Peter. But Thiago Silva, my God, he's still doing well though at this, even at the age he's at. He's one of Chelsea's better defenders. Would have been a Klopp dynasty if it weren't for the cheats. That's always going to be the thing that haunts me, mate. I can't lie to you. You know, I've said for a long time that my biggest regret would be Klopp leaving trophies on the table and us feeling like we could have got a bit more. And no matter how hard the book will be thrown at Manchester City, we're never getting them years back. And that's why I've been so angry about it from day one. It's because if they're found guilty, they have taken away enjoyment, celebratory moments, life-changing events from other football fans to the detriment of football in general. I don't think anybody really looks deep enough at what the fuck this means. They have basically taken a generation and potentially destroyed it for their own gains, their own fame, and it could be the biggest cheating scandal in my life watching football. I can't underplay how strongly I feel about it. It disgusts me. And it disgusts me that it's been allowed to happen. And it disgusts me that people are willing to turn their noses up to it just because they don't like us or because they don't like Arsenal. It's honestly, there's no punishment that's going to be good enough, in my opinion. None. They should be relegated out of existence for all I care. They are absolutely everything that's wrong with football and everything that's wrong with how football is viewed in the world now, that the ends justify the means, and it doesn't, and it shouldn't. And yeah, somebody has to keep saying, what about those trying to do it right? What about those trying to play by the rules? And somebody has to prove that it's not all about money and how deep your pockets are and what influence you have. We were taught as children about right and wrong, and that either exists or it doesn't. And if it doesn't exist, then stop fucking telling us that it does, because I know that this feels dirty and grubby and makes no sense. So to me, it's a disgrace to football. Who's the £50 million swoop? Archie Gray and his brother. Scruffy, mate. The two of them, or Scuffy, excuse me. Yeah, they're the two that have been linked. So Archie Gray is the one that's spoken about a lot. He's the real prodigious talent there at Leeds. But his younger brother is also coming through their system. So we've been linked as long with Manchester City and Newcastle with a move for him and or his brother. Klopp's the only manager other than Fergie to win one of everything in one Premier League club without cheating. Thanks for making my day by talking to us. No, my pleasure, Ben. Yeah, look, I certainly believe everything Jurgen's achieved is a remarkable feat considering what we're up against. So for me, yeah, I know people love to undermine Klopp and just say, oh, one of everything, ha ha ha. But yeah, one of everything's still pretty damn good, considering we had two other European Cup finals, a Europa League final, and set some ridiculous points tallies that would have won Premier Leagues in any other era or any other year. So yeah, we've achieved a lot under Jurgen, but we'll always think what might have been though. You know, it's only natural when you look at Manchester City, think, what if they weren't around? You know, would we have won more? Yeah, probably. I know Jurgen and Pep have this kind of respectful friendship, if you want to call it that, where they feel they pushed each other on. But, you know, I'd love to know if Jurgen really does have that respect for what's gone on at Man City, or if he's just unable to say how he really feels, because I don't have much respect for them, if I'm being honest. Do you think football should be shown on one channel instead of us paying for both Sky Sports and BT Sports? Personally, I'm sick of being ripped off by Sky. Oh, dude. I could talk about this for hours, honestly. So, there's a lot of stuff that I disagree with Simon Jordan about, and I'm sure there will be a lot of stuff in the future that I disagree with Simon Jordan about. But one idea that he had to make a kind of Premier League app where everything is under one streaming service, much like the WWE have done, where you can go back and watch any Premier League fixture from its inception in 1992 all the way through to now, when you can watch all of your team's games, where you can watch every game. I think at this day and age, every single Premier League fixture should be streamed and there should be no blackouts. And certainly there shouldn't be any barriers put up between us watching our football team and not. I understand that there has to be a balancing act where every club has to make money. I get that. But it's pathetic that we can't watch every single game. I don't know of another sport where those closest to the clubs can't watch them if they're not inside the stadium. It feels weird to me that somebody living in Bristol can't watch Liverpool on at 3 p.m. on Saturday, but somebody living in Timbuktu can, or somebody living in America can, or Australia can. Brilliant for those guys. I don't wish to take away their ability to watch football, but it's very strange that others aren't. I just feel the whole thing's always felt weird to me. And yes, paying all these subscriptions, because let's be honest, 95% of what's on Sky is shite. Absolute shite. And every year come January, the price goes up. And every year we get told we're getting more of something. But the odds are we're getting more of something that we don't want. Like netball or horse racing or whatever. Yeah, it's pathetic. It's expensive. I mean, look, I renegotiated my own Sky bill just this week. And even at that, the new renegotiated price is 180 something quid a month. You know, now that does include my broadband, but you can see why people turned. Like, I could be an absolute shithouse and just use my Spanish DAZN account and watch everything, because they cover every single Premier League game and Champions League games and FA Cup games. But I try to do it in the right way, and certainly feel like we're getting very little value for money these days from Sky or TNT Sport or anybody else. Even the most semi-decent boxing now is going on behind a paywall and box office for nobodies. The whole thing's fucking grubby. And when you hear the salaries some of these guys are getting paid, and you see the money that's being wasted, you just think, yeah, it's not right. And it's no wonder people are turning to illegal streams or fake jerseys, because we're being priced out of realistic ways to buy these things and watch it. We're being fucking fleeced. How come justice was handed to Everton quickly but taken forever with City? I would imagine it's a very, 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 very complicated set of books to go through compared to Everton, who helped the investigation and admitted their own faults. And that should stand to Everton because they cooperated fully with the investigations. So they made it easier for the Premier League, and then of course there's the complexity with the whole 115 charges and how long that's going to take and how much access they've been given to the accounts and the sourcing of the funds and emails and all this other stuff. I've recently got rid of my Sky and BT Sports after 12 years of subscription. Couldn't afford it anymore. I've been streaming since... sorry I didn't do it years ago. Yeah, and that's the problem, isn't it, Canters? That as the prices keep going up and we keep getting less value for money, people like yourself will make that decision based off the needs of their family and the affordability of it. And I'm not judging anybody for that, mate. Everybody works hard to put a roof over their head, and football, it doesn't feel like the people's game anymore, does it? It feels like a blank check these days more than anything. If City were found guilty, well, let's just rewind back there. They've already been charged, so the guilt has already been labelled. Let's put it that way. It's up to them now to prove that they're not guilty. But anyway, I'll continue going. If City were found guilty, would you want City's trophies shipped back and given to us? No. So everyone differs on this, Preston, and I've spoken to people who would like the trophies given. I've spoken to United fans who wouldn't mind another league title or two. I've spoken to Liverpool fans who wouldn't mind it. For me, I think the biggest warning to future generations would be to have a big exclamation point at the end of it that says there were no winners of these trophies in these years for these reasons. They were won by Manchester City, who were found to have cheated, and those titles have been stripped, and therefore in these years nobody won these trophies. I think that would be a more powerful statement than giving out trophies to clubs who, let's be honest, don't really want them. Fans don't have a chance to celebrate them, and those years and those moments will never be given back. So I try to make a comparison of somebody who finishes fourth in the Olympics, and you find out that the other three people ahead of you have all been cheating and taking drugs, and you get your medal in the ceremony in the fucking post or something, not inside the Olympic Stadium with your family present, with your national anthem being played. It's empty. It's empty. And that will be the case with the league titles as well for me. Would you like to see similar protests in the Premier League as the ones we're seeing in the Bundesliga at the moment? Yes. I know what you're talking about. There's an investment going into the media rights, I think, of the Bundesliga, and I've seen all the tennis balls and stuff like that German fans have been thrown onto the pitches. Yes, I do think some more fan protests will be a good thing, because we've seen before we can do it. We all came together for the Super League, and look how quickly that was killed. Totally agree with you on that, Craig, as well as City giving all the money back. Oh yeah, I think they should be fined into obscurity. Because remember, every single day they've said they've done nothing wrong. Every day, double down on it. Guardiola's come out and, been arrogant about it and said he believes his club, and then they've said the next minute they want to get on with it quickly, but yeah, they're holding up investigation, so they clearly don't. I've no sympathy for them. None. Zero. If they said, yeah, shit, we got caught with our pants down, fair enough. I think leniency, there's always a case for leniency if somebody admits their mistakes or somebody admits they're cheating. But if you continue to drag it out and out and out and out and out, then you deserve everything that gets thrown at you. Who's the person you're talking about in the thumbnail? Archie Gray and his brother. Yeah, we've been linked to the youngster from Leeds, midfielder, so of Manchester City and Newcastle, and we've also been linked to his brother, who at the moment is playing as a striker for Leeds under 18s. Given the number of amazing kids we have coming through the academy, do you think De Zerbi would be an interesting option given the average age of the Brighton squad? So I think, yes, he'd be an interesting option, but in any team, I think it's important that you get a mix of experience and youth. And I think we've done well to refresh the average age of our squad, and I think we do have that mix. But I think a midfielder to replace Thiago, somebody about 25 to 27, would be important, and another centre back. But yeah, look, De Zerbi's a great coach and will eventually land a big job. I just feel for us the best fit is Alonso, and I'm a bit pig-headed in that regard, that I can't see anybody else being a better fit, and I can't see anybody else being the right choice other than Xabi Alonso. So for me, it's Alonso or bust, really. Would I take 39-year-old Thiago Silva for the squad right now? No, I wouldn't. As long as the trophies are removed from Manchester City, however the runner-ups were cheated out of them and deserve them, sure, we fans can't celebrate them now, but we clearly won more trophies. But it's empty. That's the whole thing about it. It's empty. And I think it's a more powerful statement to say that nobody got them because there was cheating, rather than this team was cheating and they were handed down. Because, you know, Klopp's never going to get that time back. Verge is never going to get that time back. They're never going to get that unity with the fans, and it was robbed from a lot of people, not just Liverpool. I think United were due a title or two if City were found to have cheated, but personally, just my own preference, I wouldn't want them. Right now, I want to pay tribute to all the mods, Craig, Connor, Ben, Adam, for helping me through the last few weeks, and thank you for watching AA. Much love to you all. Thank you, Mark, and Mark had a family bereavement over the past few weeks that like everybody else, needs a little bit of an arm around the shoulder from time to time, and Mark's always been there for me, so it's been a pleasure, mate, to be able to be there for you, to support you in any small way we can, because you certainly support us, mate. So much love to Mark. We couldn't do it without him, and of course all of our moderators. Man City Man City stolen, misused our well-deserved victories. It's like Punani gone bad. Punani, never going to stop making me smile, that word. Would you ever consider Mancini as a manager? No, we don't have enough bank accounts for Mancini. All our bank accounts are in the public domain, so I'm not sure we'd be able. If you don't get that joke, just Google it. I don't want anybody who's been near Manchester City, mate. I don't want that tainted Manchester City stench coming near us. Basically, like in the UK, but we have we drive on the right side. I don't know what that's about, but okie dokie. I imagine this team. I'm on my way to Google it now. The Manchester City were accused of making payments into a secretive account when Roberto Mancini was manager, and that only part of his salary was paid publicly and the other part was paid into this other account. That's basically the gist of that story. I did a bathroom for an Asian girl called Punani. Cool. I hope you did a good job, most importantly, and I hope that the client was happy. I'm sure they were. Did I watch the Super Bowl yesterday? Oh God, yes. Yeah. Very much enjoyed it. It was a bit more a low scoring affair than I would have hoped for, but look, ultimately in the end, it was decided by one play at the very end, and just knew Mahomes was going to do it somehow, some way. You knew he was going to do it. Got a feel as well though for young Brock Purdy. What a season it's been for him and his family, and he'll come again. Is that why Tevez refused to get off the bench? I can't actually remember at that time what the issue was with Carlos Tevez, mate. Honestly, I don't remember. Right, look, my friends, it's been a quiet one, so I'm going to say goodnight and go grab a shower and do some more reading and stuff for tomorrow. But we will see you same time, same place tomorrow. Thank you to everyone that joined us this evening. Do please hit the subscribe button before you head off if you haven't done so. Drop a like on the stream and yeah, appreciate you. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye bye.